come in and take in incredible scenes like this. And the reason they're able to do that comes down to some quite sophisticated science, but actually most of it just feels like common sense.
Breathe in your nose slowly.
Iceland's latest visitor experience.
Breathe out slowly and just try to relax.
A virus testing station for incoming air passengers.
Okay.
Well, not the most comfortable welcome I've had at an airport, but it was either that or go into quarantine for 14 days here.
It may be a remote and sparsely populated volcanic island, but Iceland had a high virus infection rate. That didn't translate into a high death rate, though. In fact, it had one of the lowest in the world. The country didn't go into a full lockdown. The restaurants stayed open, faces uncovered. When someone tested positive, a rigorous contact tracing system kicked in.
I got a call and I was told that I had been around a person that tested positive for COVID, and it was a waiter at the place where I had lunch with my coworkers. The tracing team told me that I needed to go to self-isolation.
This is the lab where all the test samples are sent. I got my result by text a few hours after landing.
Here it is. You have not been diagnosed with COVID-19.
They don't just test for the virus here, but also its mutations. That allows them to map which countries the latest infections came from and how they spread through Iceland.
Since we sequence the virus from everyone infected in Iceland, we can first of all determine where the mutation came from, and then we can follow it as it is spreading in society.
Kari Stephenson, who runs the lab, is baffled that other countries aren't using the same system.
I insist that what has happened in the United States, what has happened in Great Britain, is that because of lack of screening, because of or lack of an attempt to understand what is really going on, it has been really difficult to contain the infection.
But scientists had a big advantage here. Politicians, including the Prime Minister, stood back and allowed them to lead on the pandemic and front the public response.
This crisis is not about me, and it was very important not to politicize this crisis.
Now they've pretty much beaten the virus, the government is pushing to reopen the country for business.
In Iceland, we are faced with very high unemployment rates right now. We are not very used to high unemployment rates, so the main, our guideline now in the government will be how to lower that number and have more people working again.
So as the government reopens tourist sites like the Blue Lagoon, visitors will return and refill these pools. Inevitably, there will be risks. But the government feels now is the right time to restart the economy.